I take away from his work the compelling idea that there's serious evil in the world, and hardship and pain, and that we should be humble and modest in our belief that we can eliminate those things. But we shouldn't use that as an excuse for cynicism or inaction. I also take away the sense that we have to make these efforts knowing they are hard, and not swinging from naive idealism to bitter realism. And that coined, I think, for Obama the sense of audacity and of hope being real. The whole task of thinking politics nationally and internationally as the effort to make justice real, as he often says. Because that kind of realism was deeply premised upon the effort to steer in between naive idealism and bitter realism, or as he also says, cynicism.
A few years ago, but we're still not at the level of pre-crisis economic GDP, gross domestic product, or we're just barely at getting back to this level. So there are a lot of people in this country as well as in Europe who feel that when there is talk on the part of political leaders to the effect that growth is back, that everything is going well, they don't feel it in their lives. And I think everybody realizes this at this point. And the Trump victory in the primary was very much a wake-up call. Now, what mainstream politicians will do in the future is an open question. Will they consider that it's just an anomaly that went on because of particular political or geopolitical circumstances and economic circumstances that led to this situation, or will they try and do something, for example, to try and sort of tackle the problem of rising economic inequalities in the industrialized world? That is really an open question. But if anything, this question came up in the presidential election, in the primaries especially, very loud and clear with the election of Trump and with the remarkably high numbers of Bernie Sanders on the Democratic side. So there may be some movements in terms of party strategies and in terms of political strategies on both sides of the Atlantic. We don't know what's in store, but I think this populism, this renewed populism, is certainly a concern for mainstream parties because they feel like if they don't react to it, they're going to be wiped out. That is very much the concern, for example, on the French right. So the question is, will they yield to it? Will they become more populist? And will they adopt some of the same themes as, for example, Nicolas Sarkozy is trying to do in the current presidential contest in France? He's trying to sort of adopt, to basically co-opt the themes of the National Front. Or will there be a reaction against these themes, an anti-populist reaction, and an attempt to move beyond this situation, this populist moment that has come up on both sides of the Atlantic? That is really an open question. I can't really, I know that it's basically the object of a political competition between different political leaders, pushing for different agendas on this.
May I speak to this briefly and return to the question about celebrity politics? And let me discuss that first. I think that one would have to give precise examples, but my hunch would be to say that it is not necessary that a successful presidential candidate be a career politician, right? Having served in Congress, as a senator, as a governor, or as a secretary, or whatever. So there are examples, right, of people who were celebrity figures, actors, and
especially in California.
Yes, who about whom we may have our judgment, but there was nothing with the same calamity that we are facing now. And I was actually struck a couple of weeks ago by a comment which I thought was very insightful by someone who is not, professional political commentator, but someone with an ear on the ground, I would say, namely the filmmaker Michael Moore. And he at a certain moment lambasted the Democratic Party and friends on the left for being extremely naive and predicted that Trump was going to win this. And one reason was that there is this populist groundswell. The emotion is not hope, but it is anger, right? On the right and on the left. And the Clinton rhetoric was not addressing that at all. But also then he brought in something very interesting. He said, don't underestimate a certain blasé recalcitrance among a significant number of the electorate, where people would just vote Trump for the heck of it. And he gave the example of Minnesota, right? Where Jesse Ventura was like a candidate with no chance at all, and lo and behold, he got elected. And that reminded me of an episode in my former home country, the Netherlands, where during the roaring 60s, 70s, you had a small party of anti-establishment party, way before the Greens and what have you. But they were like autonomous, somewhat anarchist, and they called themselves kabouters, like little men. And they had only one campaign slogan, and it is, vote for us and you'll have a good life. That was the platform. And they were actually quite popular. And then it dissipated. But there's something to this kind of celebrity appeal, which is amplified, I think, by the media. Taking this all seriously and giving it equal airtime and then quickly to what Professor Jepko was bringing up, namely the question of populism. I did not vote in the primaries for Hillary Clinton. I will now. One of my deep concerns was not her trustworthiness or the fact that there was the whole history with the Clinton brand and what have you, or even that she's more of a hawk than Obama was or what have you. My profound sense was that only a populist can beat a populist. And I'm still not confident that reason, competence, or even doing the groundwork in terms of campaigning will be sufficient. If there's something else in the air as well.
I want to go back to what you were saying about Syria, and I asked how it would presidency, how it would then change, because I know that she might be on for a convention there.
Yes. Well, of course, we don't know what she would do, but her rhetoric has been more hawkish, more interventionist than his. And I think, getting back to what Professor DeVries said, Obama is in many respects a classical realist. And a realist policy is a policy of restraint, a policy of not getting involved in issues that don't threaten your vital interests, being very cautious, especially about intervention. And it works until it doesn't. Hillary Clinton had argued earlier for arming the Syrian rebels at a time when at least some believe there are enough moderate, pro-Western, secular Syrian rebels to make a difference. Obama dismissed them as a bunch of shopkeepers and pharmacists who would amount to nothing. Again, we don't know who great. And Hillary Clinton has come out for a safe zone, a no-fly zone that would require, in fairness, some American troops and the prospect of confrontation with Russia. If you have a no-fly zone and a Russian plane with a Russian pilot enters it, you have to be prepared to shoot it down, and you're in a scary situation. But she has said she's prepared to do that, and he clearly is not. So if she's true to her words, we may see a change, but we'll have to wait and see.
That would be a change that would be very much favored by the Europeans, because the Europeans have actually a pretty dismal view of Obama's presidency. They think that he has not been assertive enough, and that's especially the case in France, I would say, when they were ready and willing to help out Obama if Obama had chosen to respond very strongly to the use of chemical weapons in Syria, and then when it didn't happen, the French were surprised, and many in the NATO alliance were very surprised. So that a newfound assertiveness would be something that I think the Europeans would welcome on the part of President Clinton, were she to be elected.
Like I said, Obama went even further than that. He set a red line. He said, Syria, if you use chemical weapons again, we are going to attack you. You're going to be very sorry. And Secretary of State Kerry made it clear that this was totally unacceptable. Assad used chemical weapons again, killed hundreds of people, and what was Obama's response? Well, first it was, well, maybe we should go to Congress, and then Congress wasn't going to do anything, and, well, what are we going to do? Maybe we shouldn't do anything. And the Russians came in and supposedly got them to disarm, although we now know that Assad is using chemical weapons against the rebels. So when you set a red line and then you back away from it, that sends a message to the world, especially in the Middle East where they're hypersensitive to this. And again, I'm a supporter of Obama, but this was not his finest moment.
But also the way it was presented was, I remember seeing the press conference when I was in Israel, and his declaration was, okay, we have proof they used chemical weapons. So as far as I'm concerned, the red line has been crossed, and I, as a president, feel that we have to intervene. But I also want to put it to a vote in Congress, which was like a weird move.
Yeah. It was a little naive.
Yes.
He thought that Congress would probably back him, and when Congress did not back him, he was basically bound to his words with the Congress.
Last question. Hey, gentlemen, one second.
I just wanted to talk about personality politics. You were talking about earlier how we can't imagine Trump going to see Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping or Rouhani and just talking his head off because he reminds you more of like a pro wrestler than an actual politician. But what would you say is the Hillary angle or Hillary's side on the personality politics? She's a lot more reserved, but one-on-one, how do you see her interaction with political leaders being, instead of just kind of over-the-top shouting that you'd expect out of a guy like Trump?
Well, she's been Secretary of State. She's met with world leaders and has done, a reasonably good job. People differ as to whether she could have done more, but clearly she didn't, screw things up. So there's no question that she's highly intelligent, very knowledgeable, articulate, and has a real strong sense of what the American national interest is. So even people who are critical of her, and I include myself in that, don't worry that she's going to do something, god awful.